Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all, he has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. The spiritual place of transcendental pastimes of Krishna is portrayed in the second verse. The super excellent station of Krishna, which is known as Gokula, has thousands of petals and a corolla like that of the lotus sprouted from a part of his infinitary aspect, the whole of the leaves being the actual abode of Krishna. The whole of that transcendental lotus is the realm wherein dwells Krishna. It is a hexagonal figure, the abode of the indwelling, predominating aspect of the Absolute. Like a diamond, the central supporting figure of self-luminous Krishna stands as the transcendental source of all potencies. The holy name, consisting of 18 transcendental letters, is manifested in a hexagonal figure with sixfold divisions. The whole of that eternal realm, Gokula, is the hexagonal abode of Krishna. Its petals are the abodes of gopis who are part and parcel of Krishna, to whom they are most lovingly devoted and are similar in essence. The petals shine beautifully like so many walls. The extended leaves of that lotus are the garden-like dham, that is, spiritual abode of Sri Radhika, the most beloved of Krishna. The surrounding external plane of Gokula is described in this verse. There is a mysterious quadrangular place named Shvetadvip surrounding the outskirts of Gokul. Shvetadvip is divided into 4 parts on all sides. The abode of Vasudev, Sankarsana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha are separately located in each of these 4 parts. These 4 divided abodes are enveloped by the fourfold human requirements such as piety, wealth, passion and liberation, as also by the 4 Vedas, viz. Rig, Sam, Yajur and Atharva, which deal with the mantra and which are the basis of achievements of the fourfold mundane requirements. 10 tridents are fixed in the 10 directions, including the zenith and the nadir. The 8 directions are decorated with the 8 jewels of Mahapadma, Padma, Shankha, Makara, Kachapa, Mukunda, Kunda and Neela. There are 10 protectors, Digpalas, of the 10 directions in the form of mantra. The associates of the hues of blue, yellow, red and white and the extraordinary potencies bearing the names of Vimala, etc. shine on all sides.
Mataji, next 5 verse, please.
The Lord of Gokula is the transcendental supreme Godhead, the own self of eternal ecstasies. He is the superior of all superiors and is busily engaged in the enjoyments of the transcendental realm and has no association with his mundane potency. Krishna never consorts with his illusory energy. Still, her connection is not entirely cut off from the absolute truth. When he intends to create the material world, the amorous pastime in which he engages by consorting with his own spiritual chit potency, Rama, by casting his glance at the deluding energy in the shape of sending his time energy in an auxiliary activity. The secondary process of association with Maya is described. Ramadevi, the spiritual chit potency, beloved consort of the Supreme Lord, is the regulatrix of all entities. The divine plenary portion of Krishna creates the mundane world. At creation, there appears a divine halo of the nature of his own subjective portion, Swamsa. This halo is divine Sambhu, the masculine symbol or manifested emblem of Supreme Lord. This halo is the dim twilit reflection of the supreme eternal effulgence. This masculine symbol is the subjective portion of divinity who function as progenitor of conceiving potency, progenitor of the mundane world, subject to the supreme regulatrix, Niyati. The conceiving potency in regard to mundane creation makes her appearance out of the supreme regulatrix. She is Maya, the limited, non-absolute, apara potency, the symbol of mundane feminine productivity. The intercourse of these two brings forth the faculty of pervaded cognition, the reflection of the seed of the procreative desire of the Supreme Lord. All offspring of the consort of the great Lord, Maheshwara, of this mundane world are of the nature of the embodiment of the mundane masculine and feminine generative organs. The person embodying the material causal principle was the great Lord of this mundane world, Maheshwara, Shambhu, in the form of the male generation organ. It joined to his female consort, the limited energy, Maya, as the efficient causal principle. The Lord of the world, Mahavishnu, is manifest in him by his subjective portion in the form of his glance. The Lord of the mundane world, Mahavishnu, possesses thousands of heads, eyes, hands. He is the source of thousands of avatars in his thousands of subjective portions. He is the creator of thousands of individual souls.
Ramananda Prabhu, you want to read 5 verses? Yeah, okay. The same Mahavishnu is spoken of by the name of Narayan in this mundane world. From the eternal person has sprung the vast expanse of water of the spiritual causal ocean. This subjective portion of Shankarshan, who abides in Parabhyam, the above Supreme Purusha, with thousands of subjective portions, reposes in the state of divine sleep, Yoga Nidra, in the waters of the spiritual causal ocean. The spiritual seeds of Sankarshan existing in the pores of the skin of Mahavishnu are born as so many golden sperms. These sperms are covered with 5 great elements. The same Mahavishnu entered into each universe as his own separate subjective portions. The divine portions that entered into each universe are possessed of his majestic extension. That is, they are the external universal soul, Mahavishnu, possessing thousands of heads. The same Mahavishnu creates Vishnu from his left limb, Brahma, the first progenitor of beings, from his right limb, and from the space between his 2 eyebrows, Shambhu, the divine masculine manifested halo. For your information, the topics we will be discussing, those are related to this, like Srishti Tattva, how this takes place. So it's very relevant to what we will be discussing today. Read it from 16.
The function of Shambhu in relation to Jivas is that this universe enshrining the mundane egotistic principle has originated from Shambhu. Thereupon, the same great personal Godhead, assuming the threefold forms of Vishnu, Prajapati and Shambhu, entering into the mundane universe, plays the pastimes of preservation, creation and destruction of this world. This pastime is contained in the mundane world. Hence, it being perverted, the Supreme Lord, identical with Mahavishnu, prefers to consort with the goddess Yoganidra, the constitute of his own spiritual chit potency, full of the ecstatic trance of eternal bliss, appertaining to his own divine personality. When Vishnu, lying in the ocean of milk, wills to create this universe, a golden lotus springs from his navel pit. The golden lotus with its stem is the abode of Brahma, representing Brahmalok or Satyalok. Before their conglomeration, the primary elements in the nascent state remained originally separated entities. Non-application of the conglomerating process is the cause of their separate existence. Divine Mahavishnu, primal Godhead, through association with his own spiritual chit potency, moved Maya and by the application of the conglomerating principle created those different entities in the state of cooperation. And after that, he himself consorted with Yoga Nidra by way of his eternal dalliance with his spiritual chit potency. By conglomerating all those separate entities, he manifested the innumerable mundane universes and himself entered into the inmost recess of every extended conglomerate Virad Vigraha. At that time, those jivas who had lain dormant during the cataclysm were awakened.
Madhav Govind Prabhu.
The same Jiva is eternal and is for eternity and without a beginning, joined to the Supreme Lord by the tie of an eternal kinship. He is transcendental spiritual potency. The divine lotus, which springs from the navel pit of Vishnu, is in every way related by the spiritual tie with all souls and is the origin of four-faced Brahma versed in the four Vedas. On coming out of the lotus, Brahma, being guided by the divine potency, turned his mind to the act of creation under the impulse of previous impressions. But he could see nothing but darkness in every direction. Then the goddess of learning, Saraswati, the divine consort of the Supreme Lord, said thus to Brahma, who saw nothing but gloom in all directions: O Brahma, this mantra, which is Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Jana Vallabhaya Swaha, will assuredly fulfill your heart's desire. O Brahma, do thou practice spiritual association by means of this mantra, then all your desires will be fulfilled. Brahma, being desirous of satisfying Govinda, practiced the cultural acts for Krishna in Goloka, Lord of Shvetadvipa, for a long time. His meditation ran thus: There exists a divine lotus of 1,000 petals, augmented by millions of filaments, in the transcendental land of Goloka. On its roll there exists a great divine throne, on which is seated Sri Krishna, the form of eternal effulgence of transcendental bliss, playing on his divine flute resonant with the divine sound, with his lotus mouth. He is worshipped by his amorous milkmaids with their respective subjective portions and extensions, and also by his external energy, who stays outside, embodying all mundane qualities.
Mataji.
Then Gayatri, mother of Vedas, being made manifest, that is, imparted by the divine sound of the flute of Sri Krishna, entered into the lotus mouth of Brahma, born from himself through his 8 ear holes. The lotus-born Brahma, having received the Gayatri, sprung from the flute's song of Sri Krishna, attained the status of the twice-born, having been initiated by the supreme primal preceptor, Godhead himself. Enlightened by the recollection of that Gayatri, embodying the 3 Vedas, Brahma became acquainted with the expanse of the ocean of truth. Then he worshipped Sri Krishna, the essence of all Vedas, with this hymn: I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor, who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with the figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of cupids. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose 2 hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revel in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyamasundara is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all the organs, and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis, who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praises men who are imbued with devotion sing the mantra suktas told by the Vedas by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments.
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confidantes, Sakhis, embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Syama Sundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts, with the eye of devotion tinged with the self of love. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Narasimha, Vamana, etc., as his subjective portions. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-different Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is the absolute substantive principle, being the ultimate entity in the form of the support of all existence, whose external potency embodies the threefold mundane qualities, namely Satya, Rajas, and Tamas, and diffuses the Vedic knowledge regarding the mundane world. In your back.
(42) I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. Lowest of all is located Devi Dham, mundane world. Next above it is Mahesh Dham, abode of Mahesh. Above Mahesh Dham is placed Hari Dham, abode of Hari, and above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as nor different from its cause with milk, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. The light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations.
Madhav Govind, we don't want to seat you so far away. That's why we're calling you. 47.
I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name of Shesha, replete with the all-accommodating potency, and reposing in the causal ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his hair, enjoys creative sleep, Yoga Nidra. Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of hair of Mahavishnu, remain as long as the duration of one exhalation of the latter, Mahavishnu. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is a portion of portion. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion Brahma receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the names of Surya Kanta, etc. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesh upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all the obstacles on the path of progress in the three worlds. The three worlds are composed of the 9 elements, which are fire, earth, ether, water, air, direction, time, soul and mind. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom they originate, in whom they exist, and in whom they enter at the time of the universal cataclysm. The sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in persons of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas, from Brahma to the meanest insect. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to the roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion, and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities, of all those who walk in the path of work in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works. No less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name of Indragopa than in that of Indra, king of the Devas. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, the meditators of whom, by meditating upon him under the sway of wrath, amorous passion, natural friendly love, fear, parental affection, delusion, reverence, and willing service, attain to bodily forms befitting the nature of their contemplation. I worship that transcendental seat known as Shvetadvipa, where as loving consorts, the Lakshmis in their unalloyed spiritual essence practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is a purpose gem, all water is nectar, every word is a song, every guide is a dance, the flute is a favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty, where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental oceans of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and without past or future, and hence is not subject to the quality of passing away even for the space of half a moment. That realm is known as Goloka only to a very few self-realized souls in this world. On hearing...
Mataji, you can read the...
On hearing these hymns containing the essence of the truth, the Supreme Lord Krishna said to Brahma, Brahma, if you experience the inclination to create offspring by being endowed with the real knowledge of the glory of Godhead, listen, my beloved, from me to this science set forth in the following 5 slokas. When the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, bhakti, super excellent unalloyed devotion characterized by love for Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. On these preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, are conducive to the realization of loving devotion. Loving devotion, than whom there is no superior well-being, who goes hand in hand within the attainment of the exclusive state of supreme bliss, and who can lead to myself. Abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. Their realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. The people of the world act ceaselessly in pursuance of some ideal. By meditating on me, by means of those deeds, one will obtain devotion characterized by love and shape of the supreme service. Listen, O Vidhi, I am the seed, the fundamental principle of this world of animate and inanimate objects. I am Pradhana, the substance of matter. I am Prakriti, material cause, and I am Purusha, efficient cause. This fiery energy that belongs specially to the Brahman, that inheres in you, has also been conferred by me. It is by bearing this fiery energy that you regulate this phenomenal world of animate and inanimate objects.
Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai. Prabhu, can you please put Radha Madhav, Jai Radha Madhav? We can sing for 2-5 minutes. Yes, Prabhu, please. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana 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 Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Extra point. Please tell the translation. Oh, you keep the verses, yeah. Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu will explain us the translation for this verse. So beautiful, right?
I will try. O Madhava, the consort of gopis, the lover of the gopis, and the
No, start from the Jaya Radha Madhava, the first part. Jaya Shri Shri Radha Mandan Mahan Sriman Mahaprabhu Sri Lakshmi Narasimha Bhagwan ki Jai. So Jaya Radha Madhav, like all glories to Radha Madhav, Kunja Bihari, who resides in the Kunja, like in the garden, like the picture is showing, right? They are making their Leela in Kunja. Gopi Jana Ballava, he is the dearmost of the gopis. Gopi Jana Ballava. Ballava means like, very close or dear to someone. Giri Varodhari, he lifted the Govardhan hill, right? So the person who has lifted the Govardhan hill. Yasodanandana, he is the son of Yashoda Mata. Brajajana Ranjana, he is the enchanter of the Brajabhumi, Brajavasis. Yamuna Tira Manachari, he walks along the path, or he conducts his pastimes along the bank of the river Yamuna. Jai. So it's like all things related to Vrindavan. This is the speciality like of this verse. Everything is related to Vrindavan, and Gauriya Vaishnavas, they are meditating on that, right? Very well. Prabhu, can you please put the verse number 2nd canto, 10th verse, 10th chapter, verse 1. 2nd canto, 10th chapter, last chapter of the 2nd canto, which is the second smallest canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, we need a little bit again, yeah. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narattamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tata Jayamudhirayet Sinnatam Sakatha Krishna Punnashravana Kirtanaha Ridhi Antastahya Vadrani Vidunati Surit Satam Nashta Prayasya Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. So this is actually a verse which is quoted by Srila Sukadev Goswami to enunciate the subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. So you will read the verse. You can follow after me. Atra sarga vishargascha Sthanam poshanamutaya Mannantara nishanukatha Nirodha muktirashraya Shishuka vacha Atra sarga vishargastha Vishargascha sthanam poshanamutaya Mannantarishanukatha Nirodha muktirashraya Shishuka vacha Atra sarga vishargascha Sthanam poshanamutaya Mannantarishanukatha Nirodha muktirashraya.
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shuka vacha
Atra Sargo Visargascha
Atra sarga vishargascha
Sthanam Poshanamutaya
Sthanam poshanam utaya
Manmantare Shanu Katha
Mannantari shanu katha
Nirodho Muktirashraya
Nirodha muktirashraya.
Shri Shuka Vacha
Shri Shuka vacha
Atra Shargo Vishragascha
Atra sarga vishargascha
Sthanam Pushanam Uttaya
Sthanam poshanam utaya
Manvantara Shanukata
Mannantari shanu katha
Nirodha Muktir Ashraya.
Nirodha muktirashraya. Shri Shuka vacha Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Atra, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sargaha, statement of the creation of the universe. Visargaha, statement of subcreation. Cha, also, Sthanam, the planetary system. Poshanam, protection. Utayaha, the creative impetus. Mannantaraha, changes of Manus. Ishanukataha, the signs of God. Nirodha, going back home, back to Godhead. Muktihi, liberation. Ashrayaha, the Sambambonam. Translation by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements regarding the following: the creation of the universe, subcreation, planetary systems, protection by the Lord, the creative impetus, the change of Manus, the signs of God, returning home, back to Godhead, liberation, and the Sambambonam. Oh, can you go to the next verse also? We want to read next verse also. Some purport also. Dasamasya visuddhyartham navanam ihalakshanam varnayanti mahatmana srutena arthena chagyasa. Translation, Prabhu. To isolate the transcendence of the Sambambonam, the symptoms of the rest are described sometimes by Vedic inference, sometimes by direct explanation, and sometimes by summary explanations given by the great sages. Next verse, Prabhu. Bhuta matrendriya dhiyam janma sarga udarita Brahmana guna vaisyamyad Visarga paurusha spritaha. The elementary creation of 16 items of matter, namely the 5 elements, fire, water, land, air and sky, sound, form, taste, smell, touch, and the eyes, ear, nose, tongue, skin and mind, is known as Sharga, whereas subsequent resultant interaction of the modes of material nature is called Visarga. Purport. Purport by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In order to explain the 10 devotional symptoms of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 7 continuous verses. The first of these under inference pertains to the 16 elementary manifestations of earth, water, etc., with material ego composed of material intelligence and mind. The subsequent creation is a result of the reactions of the above mentioned 16 energies of the first Purusha, the Mahavishnu incarnation of Govinda, as later explained by Brahma in his treatise Brahma Samhita 5.47 as follows. Ya karanarnava jale bhajatyasma yoga nidram ananta jagadanda sarvama kopa adhara sakti mabalambya parasamurtim govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. The first Purusha incarnations of Govinda, Lord Krishna, known as the Mahavishnu, goes into a yoga nidra mystic sleep, and the innumerable universes are situated in potency in each and every hair hole of his transcendental body. As mentioned in the previous verse, Shrutena, or with reference to the Vedic conclusions, the creation is made possible from the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly by manifestation of his particular energies. Without such a Vedic reference, the creation appears to be a product of material nature. This conclusion comes from a poor fund of knowledge. From Vedic reference, it is concluded that the origin of all energies, namely eternal, external, and marginal, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as explained herein before, the illusory conclusion is that the creation is made by the inert material nature. The Vedic conclusion is transcendental light, whereas the non-Vedic conclusion is material darkness. The eternal potency of the Supreme Lord is identical with the Supreme Lord, and the external potency is enlivened in contact with the internal potency. The parts and parcel of the internal potency which react in contact with the external potency are called the marginal potency, or the living entities. Thus, the original creation is directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Parabrahman, and the secondary creation, as a reactionary result of the original ingredients, is made by Brahma. Thus, the activities of the whole universe are stated. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Mandehaham Sri Guru Siyuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Shute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kipa Sindhubhyayevacha Patitanang Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya Nama Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karati bachalam pangam langayate girim yat kripam tamham bande paramananda madhavam Shri Guru Dinataranam Shri Chaitanyam Ishvaram. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to the Saturday morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. I thank all of you to get up so early in the morning and attending this Bhagavatam class from wherever you are, from online or the studio audience, Mataji and Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu. So today's topic of Srimad Bhagavatam class is we'll try to briefly go into the subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, the 10 subject matters described in the... Prabhu, can you please put that verse 2.10.1? So the 10 subject matters is discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the pastimes, the leelas we see in Srimad Bhagavatam all are related to these 10 subject matters. Srimad Bhagavad Gita has 5 subject matters. If you analyze every verse, you will see like somehow or other the verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita are related to one of those 5, at least one of those 5 subject matters. So Bhagavad Gita has 5 subject matters. One is like Ishvara, controller, the supreme controller. Then the Jiva, the marginal living entity. Then Prakriti, the nature. Then Kal, the time. And then Karma, the activities of the human body. Now, if you analyze that among these 5, 4 are eternal. Ishvara is eternal. Jiva is eternal. Prakriti is also eternal. Like it has like temporary annihilation, but it's again comes into being. Then Prakriti, and then Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal. Kal is eternal. It never perishes. It will go on. Only thing which is not eternal is karma. Yeah, we can actually nullify the effect of karma. Karma niridhati kintu cha bhakti bhacho, right? Anyway, so that is not eternal, but other 4 are eternal. So similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam also, there are 10 subject matters, and if you analyze each and every chapter, somehow or other they are related to these 10 subject matters. And what are the subject matters? The first subject matter is Sarga. Atra Sarga Visargasya Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Mannantara Ishanu Katha Nirodha Muktir Ashrayaha. These are the 10 subject matters. First is Sarga. Sarga means creation. Visarga also means creation. Sarga and Visarga both are creation, but there is a difference. Sarga is the creation from the Supreme. So at the beginning there was nothing into being, right? What happens? Lord Mahavishnu is lying in the causal ocean, and from him, from his breathing and the pores of his body emanates millions of billions of universes, and he glances on that. When actually those universes were inside him, the 3 modes of nature were in balance at that time. All are equal, Satya, Rajas and Tamas. But when he glances, there is a imbalance. The imbalance, occurs. So that imbalance actually gives the energy, or the procreation starts from that point. Because for procreation you have to have mood of passion. If somebody is not in mood of passion, he cannot actually create. There's a Chatus Kumar, they are in mood of goodness, Sattva Satta. They didn't want to indulge in creation. Even the Lord Brahma, their father, he ordered them to do that. Anyway, so there is an imbalance happens. So in those universes, Lord Mahavishnu, Karanadakshay Vishnu, he enters as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. In every universe, and from his navel, that Garbhodakshay Vishnu's navel, one lotus sprout, and Lord Brahma was born on that lotus. And today only in the Brahma Samhita we recited, right? He sprouted, and then he started meditating, because he was completely in the darkness. Actually, what is his function? Who is he? Who is his origin? He was not known to it. But then what happened? He started meditating, and he got the Gayatri Diksha from Lord Krishna from the 5th note of his flute. It was also slightly like Klim Krishnaya, that mantra. So that actually gave him the illumination, and he actually identified his origin, his relation to the origin. Hare Krishna. and then he got the energy to procreate. And he started praying. You see that in Brahma Samhita, he started praying on Govindam Adipurusam Tamaham Bhajami, the characteristics of Lord, Supreme Lord, and he started glorifying him. So that happens. So in the Sarga also we saw Lord creates all the material elements also. Like first there was nothing, right? Only Pradhan, only one element is there in the causal ocean, which is it is described as the substance of every matter, every element. Pradhan. So from Pradhan, there like the man, buddhi, ahankar, like first the ego, then intelligence, then the mind is created, and then the more subtler form, like more grosser form are created. Then the ether, the akash, sky is created. Then the air, which has ether doesn't have anything actually. But the air has a feeling of touch, sparsha. Then from air, the fire is created, which has a vision also. You can see fire. You cannot see air, but you can see. So there is another level of gross characteristic. Then from fire, water is created. Water has another thing, like you can give it a shape, and it has taste, shad, that taste it has. And then from water, earth is created, which has a smell, gandha, which is present in earth. Water doesn't have any smell. Anyways, the pure water, not the one scented water. Anyways, so these are creation. So Lord gives this element. Also we saw in the Brahma Samhita it was explained that there are Lord creates like Shambhu and Mother Durga, whose union creates all these material elements. This is also explained he actually gives them the energy to create this element, because there has to be an empowered. That happens actually in material world also. We see there has to be some bija, and somewhere that bija can be contained and nourished to create a child or create a body. So same thing happened there also. So Lord Shambhu is somehow or other empowered by the Param Purusha with that seed giving power, and he actually creates this material element further from him. Mahavishnu doesn't come directly in touch with the Jara Jagat, like material world. Rather, he empowers Lord Shiva and Mother Durga. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya, like all things are done by Mother Durga and Lord Shiva mainly. And then he maintains this world in the form of Kshirodaksha Vishnu, who is another expansion of Lord Mahavishnu, and he also resides in the heart of every living entity as the Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So these are the basic structure of Sarga. And then comes the Visarga, like the procreation, which is done by Lord Brahma. Because Lord Brahma is entitled, or he's given the power of creation, but that's not direct creation. He creates the things which is already existed, but he creates for the living entities to live in a Brahmanda. That's why I call this Brahmanda, right? It's the egg of Lord Brahma. Because there are elements which are given by Lord Mahavishnu, and those are manifested by Lord Shiva and Durga, but you need something or some person or living entities to use or so use those elements. So he actually gives the body of the living entities based on their karma in the previous lives. They were, during the annihilation, they were in the body of the Mahavishnu. But when he creates the universe, he also makes those enliven and gives the body based on their subtle and gross consciousness and activities of their previous lives. Especially after, complete annihilation, this takes place. So this is the activities of Lord Brahma, and it is called Visarga. And it is said also that, Maya Devi Durga, he is in charge of this Bhava Karagar, like the jail. But also it is said this is a good opportunity for the living entity to go to the back to Godhead. It's not only to punish the living entities Lord creates this universe. It also to give them an opportunity to go back to Godhead and do take devotional service. Because sometimes it happens like, even if you like in the material world also, there are like different gradation, right, which we'll discuss, like the sthanam part. Actually we'll discuss in that part, that thing. Yeah, anyway, so Sarga and Visarga, these are the fast things. And if you see that in Srimad Bhagavatam, in 2nd canto and 3rd canto, these are explained in a vivid manner. Especially in 2nd canto, there is explanation of Virat Rupa. Like for him, everything emanates. Like how, like his feet represents something, his belly represents something. I need to actually check. I'm not sure. Like, yeah, it says like upper planets, like different planets are situated in the Virat Rupa. There are like 7 planets, lower planets, like, and 7 planets, upper planet, starting from the Bhurloka, Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Jana, Mahatapa, Satya. So Satya Loka is the head of the Virat Rupa, and Beli is the earth planet. It's like Bhurloka. And then Tal, Bital, Sutal, Mahatal, Talatal, Patal. These 7 like lower planets goes down to his feet, till his feet. And then all sins, they reside in his back. Like all beauty, they are reside in his lips. Like shyness in his different parts, like in his eyes or face. And his envy also came from him. Like it resides in the annas of the Supreme Virat Rupa, Mahapurusha. So it is also said in Srimad Bhagavatam, why we discuss Virat Rupa? What is the ultimate objective of understanding the Virat Rupa, right? Because Shikodev Goswami, if you see that while he was describing in Srimad Bhagavatam, he started with this creation, Sarga. Why it is important for us to understand the Sarga? Like how we can convince ourselves that we need to understand the Srishti Tattva. You want to say something? Okay. So yeah, say.
So in 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita, it is similarly, Srila Prabhupada says, if we know the banyan tree, only then we will be able to go out of it.
Exactly.
So similarly, we should know.
Correct. Actually, in Bhagavatam also, the same thing is explained. Like that Maya Devi is in charge of this material world. But we need to actually understand the activities of Maya, how she is under the direction of the Supreme Lord, is supervising the whole material creation. When we understand that thing, what will happen? We'll be exhausted, because every one of us came here for the enjoyment. We wanted to enjoy ourselves independently, independent of Krishna. Even though we know that Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhakti Ruchyate, the highest kind of sense enjoyment can be done only by satisfying the senses of the Rishikesh, the master of the senses, Krishna. Because without him, if we want to enjoy the senses, that will actually end in a misery. But we want to do that. That's why we come came under the jurisdiction of Maya Devi. But if we know that the Maya Devi, how she is acting, how she is operating in this material world, how everything is being supervised by her, but she is also empowered by the Supreme Lord to do that. And also we can understand the relationship with us of the Supreme Lord, between us and the Supreme Lord. Then we will be exhausted. We will feel like, okay, this is, when you know about something, like the cook, sometimes you see that they cook a preparation, but they don't feel, eating that, because they were there all the time, they are cooked and everything. Like they want to eat something else, cooked by someone else. Similarly, those who are like, grossly materialistic, they should not actually go into the pastimes of the Lord. It is not recommended that you, in the 5th canto, last chapter, it is explained, while the hellish planets was describes, that one who is like, new spiritual, like, he just started a spiritual practice, he should not try to listen to the pastimes of Lord, because those are esoteric. And if your heart is not clean, you may not appreciate all of them. Secondly, if you don't understand the relationship with you and the Lord, then how you can jump to the prayajana level, that ultimate, like if you just cross the Sambandha level and go just prayajana, that ultimate, because Lord's hearing the Lord's pastime is the prayajana, our ultimate goal. So you should not, transgress that gradual progression. Rather, you should concentrate on the creation, the relationship of the creation with you, the living entity, and also you should understand, what are my position in this creation, what is my position in this creation, and then you can be exhausted and you can act according to the desire of the Lord. That's why it is said, first we need to understand that how this material world takes place, especially if you want to be very serious in our devotional life. Then we can understand that there is a relation between us and the Supreme Lord. Also it is said, when Mahadevi, actually when Krishna sends us to this material world, or we come of our own will to this material world, He gives everything for our sustenance, maintenance, and also go back to the Supreme World. Like He gives the knowledge of Veda, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, even Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the highest knowledge, and it is not even accessible to the people of higherly planets, especially those who came to the Bhurloka, like this earthly planet. They are very fortunate because they get this knowledge from the Lord Himself directly. So we should take the advantage of these things. This is the Sarga and Visarga. So these are explicitly and very in detail explained in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. You can actually, I really recommend, especially from 4th chapter onwards, everybody actually read those things very sincerely. It's a little difficult because if we read Srimad Shri Brahma Samhita, the first verses which describes how the relationship, the material creation took place, it's difficult to understand. But when we read it again and again and again, rather than just reading whatever we like to read, then the mercy will flow. Because it is said only the Nitya Siddhas, they are entitled to listen Lord's pastime. Only there. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary Sarartha Darshini, he spoke that only those who are Nitya Siddhas, those are eternally liberated, they should hear the eternal pastimes of the Supreme Lord. They are so elevated. But we should also listen. We should not just always read this cosmic ministration. But we should definitely keep in mind that we need to understand these things to make our relationship with the Supreme Lord, to understand our relationship. And also it was explained in this thing, right, that all the three energies, para, apara, and the marginal entity, like the internal energy, the external energy, and the marginal entity, all came from Lord. That is a famous verse, right? Parasya saktir bibidaiva shriyate sabhaviki kriya jnana valamcha. It says all the energies are emanating from the Supreme Lord. They are multifarious in nature. And they just act according to the desire of the Supreme Lord. So these all things actually came from Him. So even though Lord Brahma creates the sub-creation, but ultimately He is also empowered by the Supreme Lord. As long as Lord is empowering Him, He can create. Anyways, the next is the sthanam. Sthanam means actually the places of the creation, how it is placed. Actually, creation, this material world is ephemeral, right? It comes into being and then after some time it annihilates and then again it comes into being. But the eternal world, the spiritual world, is eternal. So it is also explained in the sthanam portion, the location. It is said that the first thing that already I explained, that there are 7 lokas. In the material world there are 14 bhuvan, it is called, right? 14 bhuvano maje nam bina kichu nahi kar. So in the 14 world system it's so there are 7 worlds down to Earth planet and 6 worlds up to Earth planet. Earth planet in the middle. These planets are covered by 8 substances, 8 akash. It is made of different elements. Then, beyond these 8 elements, there are causal ocean, which is also called Biroja Nodi. And actually Mahesh Dham is located in that causal ocean, which is actually not material world and also not completely a spiritual world. Right? In between. It's in between. It's a kind of marginal position also. Like living entity is not completely spiritual, it's not completely material, it's in the in between. It can take a spiritual position, also it can take completely material position anyways. So, causal ocean, there Mahesh Dham is located. And above the Mahesh Dham is Vaikuntha Lokas. Innumerable Vaikuntha Lokas, millions of Vaikuntha Lokas, where Lord is manifested in different forms, like all the mantras we chant, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda, Bhamana, Narsingha, Janardana, all Vasudevaya, Sankarshan, Aniradhya, Pradyumna, they are situated in Upendra, they are situated in different Vaikuntha Lokas, and they have their own pastimes with their devotees. Beyond these Vaikuntha Lokas, there is Ayodhya Loka, where Lord Rama, Lakshman, Sita, Maya, Hanuman, all they are present, the eternal servants of Lord Ram and relatives. And beyond this Vaikuntha Loka, Ayodhya Dham is Dwarika. Lord Krishna in his form or in his position, in his associates of Dwarika is present. Beyond Dwarika is Mathura Dham, where Lord Krishna is present with the associates of or relatives of his Mathura pastimes. And beyond that is Goloka Vrindavan, where Lord Krishna is present with Srimati Radharani and all the gopis and the Brajavasis. So this is called the highest position. And in fact, Goloka namni nija dham nitalecha taisya, right? Devi Mahesari dhamesu teshu teshu. So it is the highest position, and then all the planets are lower. But in the spiritual sky, all planets are like self-sufficient and independent. Independent means like they have all such ananda potency in full quantity. But interaction with the devotees are based on the relationship and also based on the particular mood of the Lord. Like Lord Narayan, he is a king, so you just can hang around with him as a friend. You have to be respectful of that position. But Lord Krishna, he is a coward boy. So you can fight with him also. You can jump on his shoulder if you are in paternal relationship. But yeah, actually in Vaikuntha Loka, usually there is no paternal or fraternal relationship, or like mostly servitorship, and only the Lakshmis, they are in conjugal relationship. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So this is described also like different sthanam. Sthanam means like the position of the spiritual world and the material world, and how spiritual sky, material sky, they are covering up each of the planets. Actually, this beyond causal ocean is like another sky. It is called Parabhyam, spiritual sky. The sky which we have, it's material sky. It's called Akash, but that is called Chid Akash. Like Chid means eternal, right? So actually, Chid means full of knowledge. Yeah. So Chid Akash is like it's cognizant. That sky is not like material sky, and it's ever illuminating. It doesn't come under the influence of darkness. Self-illuminating actually. Yeah. Then actually the main the hopeful thing we have, like the next topic is like Poshanam. How Lord protects his devotees. That is actually our main inspiration from Srimad Bhagavatam. That Lord assured, whatever the situation is, I will protect you, I will maintain you. Even, actually if we analyze each of the pastimes, especially with his devotees, how is he protecting? Even the Asuras also he is protecting. Right? Asuras, by annihilating them, because they are committing offenses to Lord again and again and again. If they are not annihilated, then they will keep committing and they will fall down more and more and more. But when he is actually giving them Sayuya Mukti, because those who are killed by the Lord himself, they will get Sayuya Mukti, they will get a better chance to do devotional service, right? Or they will get liberated from this downfall. Anyway, so Poshanam in the third canto, like we see, like first Uddhava, Vidura leaves home, right? And he meets Maitreya. Then we see that Uddhava is also meeting Maitreya. They are discussing different topics. And then comes in the topics of Lord Kapila. He is describing the devotional process to her mother. So these things are given through Srimad Bhagavatam. And also, it doesn't only discuss about devotion only in pure Kevala Bhakti. It also describes devotion in terms of jnana, in terms of karma kandya, in terms of meditation, dhyana. So that people of different inclination, they also get attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the goal of Srimad Bhagavatam is to take one from the state of the cognizant, state of making him know the reason of the creation, to the platform of prayajana, like why we need to do these things. And that is to hear and chant the glories of the Supreme Lord, which is described in the Ashraya, in the 10th canto Samambonam, right? So that is the goal. So if somebody is inclined to dhyana, jnana, if he doesn't find something in Srimad Bhagavatam at first, then he will be not interested that much to read or go through Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why there are topics which are related to Gyan, which are related to meditation, which are related to Sankhya philosophy, are also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. But they are not without relationship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything is related with Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the speciality of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you see like some of the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, I never read it myself, but it said like it's not a good spiritual book. It for exercise is okay. Or Yoga Vasishta, which was preached by Advaita Acharya, it preaches impersonal philosophy. That means Lord's formless existence. That's not what Srimad Bhagavatam says. Even though Lord Kapila delineated so many subject matters, but he always emphasizes the devotional process, and he connected everything with the devotional process, ultimately. So there are topics related to karma, like Jnana Yoga Bhakti, Karma Mishra Bhakti, are also delineated in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Poshanam for the devotees who are not completely. And also we see there are different devotees, like Daksha. Daksha is also a devotee, right? Because how can he be in such position if he is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord? So he was Daksha Prajapati, he was the son of Lord Brahma, and he was asked to enhance the creation. Excuse me. But he offended Lord Shiva. When he was entering the courtyard, what happened? Everybody got up, but Lord Shiva did not. He thought it's an pure insult to me because he is my son-in-law. He is supposed to give me respect. Actually, he did not see that every demigods got up. He saw only Lord Shiva did not get up, because that is the mood of people who are in pure passion. They want respect, they want adoration, they want everybody to notice them. So Daksha Prajapati was in that mood. And when you are doing a sacrifice, and when you are doing a yajna, and it brings conflict, it brings chaos, that is in mode of ignorance. So even though he was doing activities based on Vedas, he was doing because he is a king, he is a Prajapati, he is meant to do sacrifice for the welfare of the humankind. But he was not doing it in the pure mood of goodness or for the satisfaction of the Lord. Rather, he was bringing out conflict, and then his head got chopped off. A lot of chaos ensued from that pastime, we see. But he was given mercy by the Lord. Lord actually somehow or other protected him. Even though Lord Shiva was completely angry, Mother Sati, she gave up her body, but still he was protected. He could continue his devotional service later on. Yeah. So in the 4th canto we see that. And then we see the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj. So this is kind of devotion in mode of ignorance, because you are creating chaos rather than peacefulness. You are meant for the sacrifice is meant for the welfare of every living entity. Then comes the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj. And we see what? Dhruva Maharaj, in mode of passion. My stepmother insulted me, I am a Kshatriya. My mother instructed me that I have to go to forest. I have to do sadhana to achieve the grace of the Supreme Lord. I'll do it. And he certainly immediately, 5 years old boy, he immediately started for the forest. And on the way, Narad Muni, he's an universal character in Bhagavatam. Almost every other chapter there is mention of Narad Muni. So important character. I think, Shukadeva Goswami. After Shukadeva Goswami, I feel like Narad Muni is the most important character. Shukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, they are the, conveyor or But Narad Muni, he is carrying, or he is present in every pastime almost. Anyways, so Narad Muni, he has stopped him. Where are you going? So he is telling like, I am going to forest, I am looking for Vasudev. You seem like a sage. Can you give me Vasudev? This the knowledge about the Supreme Lord. Then he told like, either you are a completely insolent boy, or you are a childish, like you are like, like normal boy. So if you are insolent, like if you are like impudent, then you should not go to the forest. You should actually try to contemplate or try to see the broad picture. See, broad picture means like you should actually contemplate what you are doing, because sometimes when we are in angry mood, when we are not in ourselves, we do things which are not meant for us. And if you are a boy, then you should do some frolicsome activities. You should do some sport. You should hang around with your friends. You should not go to the forest. If either you are like over matured or you are immature. You are not, what you are doing, it doesn't making any sense to me. It's not making any sense to me. So that was his instruction, that you should not do it. Either you play or you should contemplate on what you are doing. But he said, no, if you are not giving me the knowledge, then live. I will find my way myself, because I am a Kshatriya. It's my duty. Whatever I have taken vow for, I should fulfill that. And then Narad Muni understood that this person is really serious. He is not just an immature, impudent boy. And he gave him the mantra. Which mantra? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yes, exactly. The mantra which we chant every day while reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I bow down, I put obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Anyways, and then Hare Krishna, Nirvan Prabhu. So, what happened? When he went to the forest, he chanted and he got Lord's mercy in 5 months, actually 6 months. He was doing like, severe austerity, which is not meant for a 5 years old boy, but because of Lord's mercy and determination of his own, he could do it. Anyways, and then he got his mercy and he was meant to ask for a kingdom which is bigger than his great-grandfather. His grandfather is Lord Brahma, right? Actually, great-grandfather is Lord Brahma. His grandfather is Manu. Priyabrata and Uttanpad is his father, right? Sorry, Uttanpad is his father. Uttanpad's father is Manu. Manu's Sayambhu Manu, and Sayambhu Manu's father is Brahma. So he told like, I want a kingdom which is, actually at that time he felt shameful when Lord touched his head with conch shell. He felt very shameful that what I am asking to the Supreme Lord, this material thing. He is, so merciful that he gave me his darshan, and I am aspiring for something which is like ephemeral, perishable. Sorry. So he didn't want to ask, but Lord fulfilled his desire, because Lord don't want to be blamed that he doesn't fulfill desires of his devotees. So if we have any desire also, we should ask the Lord, like Lord, please fulfill my desire. But most of the times, especially Lord Krishna's case, he fulfills desire in such a way that you don't want to ask for that thing anymore, because that's the specialty of Lord Vishnu, that he fulfills desires. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, his desire was fulfilled, but he was not satisfied by that. He told like, what I am asking for, And then he was giving the planet of Dhruvaloka, which is more opulent than Brahmaloka, which is more opulent than the planet of Lord Brahma, and it's everlasting, glowing. Special features are there in that planet. So he got that from. So this is kind of like, bhakti in mode of passion, that I have to achieve something through bhakti. Not the goal is like to achieve the blessings of the Lord, or association of the Lord, or His service. Then we see the, there are devotees like Prithu Maharaj. What he has done? Prithu Maharaj was born from the body of Bena, King Bena, yes. Yeah. Maharaj Anga's son. King Bena is a demon. Anyways, Maharaj Prithu and his wife both were born from the body of Bena through the chanting of his body and chanting of the Vedic hymns. So when he was born, he was like, in a Shaktavash avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was meant to establish the Vedic Dharma, or propagate the Vedic Dharma to the every sphere of the society. That's why he conducted 99 Aswamedha Yagya. And when he was about to conduct the 100th one, Indra was scared. Because it is said in the Shastra, if you perform 100 Aswamedha Yagya, heart sacrifice, then you will get the post of Indra. Same thing happened in Bali Maharaja's pastimes also, right? That time also. Anyways, so we see that Indra was so scared that he abducted the horse which was meant for sacrifice. Then Prithu Maharaj's son, he was chasing him. He did not first attack, but he was just telling Prithu Maharaj that this happened. Then he was asked to actually capture that person, and he was in disguise. He was in disguise of a Brahmana. So Srila Prabhupada said that this person is the originator of the bogus sadhus, King Indra. The bogus sadhus started from him. So in the besh of a sadhu, in the disguise of a sadhu, you do all kind of heinous activities, apasampradayas. They are dressed like a sadhu. They have tilak, they have kantimala, they have shikha also. But they will do all kind of nonsenses. So that started from Indra. He is abducting a horse which is meant for the sacrifice, for the welfare of the society. Because he felt like he is insecure. He felt insecure. His post can be taken away by Prithu Maharaj. Then Lord Brahma appeared. Lord Brahma did not say anything to Indra. Because he said okay, Indra, he is like child. He doesn't have understanding what to do or not to do. But Prithu Maharaj is a very sober person. He's Lord's especially empowered personality. I will instruct him, and he instructed that you should not be disturbed. You have done 99 sacrifice. You should not go for a fight with Indra. Actually, Indra was defeated by the son of Prithu Maharaj. His name was Bijitasva. After defeating that Indra, he got a name called Bijitasva. Anyways, but still, because Indra again made disturbance, Brahma told you should not continue this thing. You should stop this thing. And then Lord Vishnu also appeared, and he blessed Prithu Maharaj that you have done such activities, but you should not aspire for the 100th horse sacrifice. Let it be like this. And that was actually the 100th sacrifice Prithu Maharaj has done. That is actually the biggest sacrifice, because he gave away his own agenda for the agenda of the Supreme Lord. That is the best sacrifice, right? That is complete surrender, Sharanagati. So in the wisdom of the Maharaja's pastimes, we see that the agenda of the Lord is greater than the personal agenda. So that is the pure bhakti. When Lord desires something and it is not convenient for me because I have some goal to achieve, but I gave up on the order of the Lord, that is actually highest sacrifice. Sacrificing your own ego. So you see that gradually how Srimad Bhagavatam describes people of different mood and their relationship with the Lord. They are having bhakti, but their mood of bhakti is different from each other. We are discussing. Anyways, Anyways, then we see the pastimes of the Maharaj Priyabhat in Canto 5, right? This also gives us an like idea how you should actually follow the instructions of the superior. Sometimes, like Priyabrata was the son of Manu, and for the purpose of expansion, the creation, Lord Brahma asked him to go for the Grahastha life, right? Even though he was doing, complete celibacy and he was under the protection of Narad Muni's instruction, but when he was asked to increase the creation, he abided those instructions, and he went into the Grahastha ashram and he followed his injunction. So this is also an instruction that sometimes superiors they tell us to do something which we may think like it is not good for me, out of our own ego. But when seniors say for their purpose, for the sake of their benefit, we should sometimes give up our own agenda. Maybe it's not possible in a large scale all the time, but at least in a small scale all the time we can do that. And we see that our book distributors, they are doing it on a day-to-day basis. What they do, whenever somebody says, okay, go for book distribution to this area, they don't say, now, okay, I want to go to that place. I want that place very, very much. A lot of people access book there. They just go there. They just follow that instruction because it was ordained by the superiors. Then the mercy flows. Because mercy is like a chain reaction, right? The superior you have, that person has a superior also. That person has a superior. So it is connected to Lord Krishna. And the mercy flows downwards. It doesn't flow upwards. So when you are following someone, you are under the flow of mercy. Okay. So this was, there. And then the pastimes of, if a Karmakandi, Prachina Barisat, Narad Muni instructing Maharaj Prachina Barisat about the King Puranjana, an allegorical story, right? Very interesting story. That how the city of 9 gates is there, and the person has a wife who is not chaste, and he is enjoying at the time of death. Like very nice story about King Puranjan, and Prachina Varishat was thinking first, oh, it's very interesting story, and then at a point of time he could identify himself with this story. Are you speaking of me? Then Narad Muni told, yeah, it's you. It's you who is representing here as King Puranjana. So be careful. And then he took that knowledge, and this is actually the teachings of the Vedas. Vedas, they don't teach actually directly. They teach indirectly, parakshavad. Yeah, through allegory. They don't directly say that, do that. Surrender yourself to Krishna. That is only found in Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Shruti Shastra it is very difficult. There are lots of things, lot of indirect things, which will ultimately goal is to take you to the supreme, to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it is very difficult to identify. Parakshavad Vedanam. Veda's knowledge is Parakshavad. So it's very difficult to get perfection by following, especially in the age of Kali. It's almost impossible. But the teachings of the Vedas are all encapsulated in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Especially Bhagavad Gita is like direct instructions of the Lord, and Bhagavatam is the manifestation of those instructions in forms of pastimes. And also like the personalities we see in Bhagavatam, they are like Mahabhagavats, right? They are like their life and their activities are an example for all of us. Anyways, I think we can stop here, Prabhu. I think we can take some reflection, and then if time permits, we can go along some other portion. Because this portion is very inspiring, because there are pastimes of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj, like how he protected Bharat Maharaj, how he protected his memory so that he doesn't get lost. These things are all like in 6th canto there are a lot of pastimes, 5th, 6th, 7th, which are all related to Poshanam. Yeah. You want to say something? Actually, there are not many people to reflection, but we should actually take reflection some more.
Actually, I like the point where how Bhagavatam grows gradually from mode of ignorance to mode of passion. It's all protecting the Lord is protecting. Then mode of goodness, Ritu Maharaj, and then finally it goes to Shuddha Sattva also, where Prahlad Maharaj is there, where Lord is protecting him. And that's beyond the three modes of material nature, the way Prahlad Maharaj is. So I like that point a lot. That how that Bhagavatam is, gradually growing. And other thing is the protection itself. That we always that the hope is there for the devotees. That whatever things, but Lord is there to protect us at all the times.
Yeah, so out of the 6 limbs of the surrenders, there are 6 limbs like Anukalyasya Sankalpam, Pratikalyasya Varjanam, Rakshashyati Krishnasya, Go Tripte Bharanam Tatha, Atma Nikshepa Karpanyam, Sarvidi Saranagata. That is called Rakshashyati Krishnasya. Rakshashyati, Krishna will protect me no matter what happens. Go Tripte Bharanam Tatha, he will maintain me also. This is ascertained. Yeah, what is that verse in 9:22? That 9:22, that famous verse, right? Yogokshemam ananyan chintayantascha mam yojena paripashate tesam nitya viyoktanam yogokshemam maham. So those who actually, without undebated ananyas chintayantascha, by those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So he is doing it like those. This is the surrender, one limb of surrender. So the pure devotees, they follow this limb completely. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote many songs about these 6 limbs of surrender. If you have some time, you can read.
One more point.
Sure, please.
So when we were reading Brahma Samhita, over there it was written that how Krishna is inaccessible through the Vedas. And then I was thinking that how the contradictions are at different places based on context. And in Bhagavad Gita he says Vedesha Sarver Amavidya. Among the Vedas, like in the Vedas, I am to be known. And then here he is saying that from the Vedas you won't be able to know me, but through devotional service.
Yeah.
So that was and I have a question is now.
Sure.
So in Brahma Samhita it was mentioned that from Vishnu, from Mahavishnu, the 2 eyebrows, Lord Shiva manifested.
Shambhu.
Shambhu. Lord Shambhu manifested. And then we also understand that from Brahma, when he got angry,
correct.
From him Shiva manifested. So how to understand that? That is one question.
There is one Shiva who is actually Sada Shiva, who is manifested through the eyebrows of Mahavishnu. And there is another Shiva who is Kailashpati Shiva, who is manifested through the eyebrows of Lord Brahma. Okay, and he's in charge of only this planet. But that Sadasiva is in charge of the whole universe. During universal cataclysm, he actually destroys. And he is an expansion of Mahavishnu. Lord Advaita Acharya is that Sadashiva. That's why he is also Mahavishnu. If you see the Pranam Mantra Advaita Acharya, Mahavishnu Jagadanda Vidhana Karta, that line is there. That means he is the Vidhana Karta of Jagad Anda, the material egg, the universal egg. So these are 2 different personalities. But that Shiva is also part of that Sadashiva. This Brahma Shiva. Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So you mentioned that the Shruti Shastras, they were created with indifferent, I mean, with like indirect method of
Parakshabhada
directing
Vedanam.
towards,
Yes.
to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, but Srimad Bhagavatam is enough, right, to complete
Correct.
one's full desire.
Correct.
So, I mean, what is the purpose of reading so many Shruti Shastras, and by the Lord, I mean, under Veda and other Puranas, like, for example?
Actually, there are people of different moods, right? Mood of ignorance, mood of passion, mood of goodness. So there has to be activities made for different moods of people. But the devotees or those who are aspiring for the higher knowledge, higher spiritual experience, for them they have to transcend these three moods of nature, right? Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nas Traigunya Bhavarjana Nirdanda Nitya Shattastha Nir Yogokshema Atmavan. Lord Krishna is speaking to Arjuna that the three moods of material nature are the subjects of Veda. But you go beyond this, you transcend these modes of nature, and you be situated in yourself, Atmavan, Nir Yogokshema, like acquiring the mood of pure yoga, meditation. I think it's 2.60. Anyways. So that should be our also activity also. That's why Bhagavad Gita also doesn't say direct Vedic Karma Kanda, because Vedic Veda is mainly 70-80% is Karma Kanda section. Like if you do this thing, you have to follow this procedure: Ashramedh Yagya, Gomedh Yagya, this Pungsavan Brota, this Brota, that Brota. They are detailed, and people are oriented in different direction. Like some are in mode of ignorance, Pushan. They have to do something based on their mood. So Veda is directing, and it's a gradual step-by-step process. The person who is in mode of ignorance today, following the Vedas, he will achieve the mode of passion platform, then following mode of goodness. And if Lord's mercies comes upon that person, he can transcend the mode of goodness also and go beyond in Shuddha Satya or Vasudev Satya. And then 20 or 15-20% is like Upasana Kanda, how to approach different demigods for material pleasure, sense enjoyment. That's why it was condemned by Narad Muni that you have given so many Vedas, Upanishad commentary of the Vedas, which is actually digressing the mind of the people. Narad Muni is chastising, actually admonishing Srila Vyasdev. You did not do a very good job by doing that. Because the ultimate good for the human being is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His activities. You have not delineated that, you have not described that. So you should do something for their well-being. You give this Bhagavatam, and then he gave this Bhagavatam. It's not like always good to read Vedas. You can be Vedavadi. In fact, all the sannyasis, impersonal Brahman sannyasis, their only activity is to read the Vedas. Nothing else. Veda and Vedanta. Vedanta is the commentary of the Vedas. So they read Veda and they give commentary. Read Veda and commentary. Impersonal commentary. Because Veda is very abstruse. It doesn't directly say that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam, who is eligible to read Srimad Bhagavatam? Who follows, who understands the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And what is the understanding of Srimad Bhagavad Gita? Krishna's to Bhagavanam Sayam, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamakam Saranam Bhaja Manmana Bhava Madbhakta Madhyaji Mam Namaskara Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. So these are the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. One who knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why if you see any verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a pivotal verse. You should compare that verse with that pivotal verse. If you see that your understanding is connected to that pivotal verse, that means it's okay, your understanding is correct. Because sometimes you cannot interpret some verse. Ete chamse kalapumshe Krishnastu Bhagavanam Sayam. This verse is the most important or pivotal verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, all verses are subservient or are like wells of this verse. It's in the center.
Thank you.
Mataji, you want to say something? You want to say something?
Actually, Prabhuji, the way you are glorifying Bhagavatam, I was just feeling that we are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada has actually given Srimad Bhagavatam so that we can actually have it at our house.
Correct.
It's so difficult to nowadays actually to have this kind of like pure literatures. But
Yeah.
he gave that access so that we can have at
Yeah.
our house, we can read it daily. That's very fortunate. I had question on when we say Vishnu. So in some books we read that sometimes in Srimad Bhagavatam in the commentary it's said that Garbhodaksha Vishnu is Vishnu. Sometimes in some commentaries Kshirodaksha Vishnu is Vishnu. And then there are places where it said Kshirodaksha Vishnu is there, Garbhodaksha Vishnu is there, but Vishnu is actually a guna avatar. And there is no like that way connection. It's like different. So I just wanted to understand like what do you like? What's our realization on that?
Vishnu Tattvas are all Vishnu Tattvas. Like we should not differentiate that much, Even Kshirodaksha Vishnu and Karanadaksha Vishnu, their functionality is different. All are guna avatar. Functionality means like because Kshirodaksha Vishnu is seated in your heart as the Paramatma. Also, he is maintaining this universe, right? But Karanadaksha Vishnu, he is emanating from him. All the universes are emanating through his breath. Jasyeka nishashita kala mathavalamba. Right? So actually there is no difference for us, at least our perspective. Yeah, the functionality is different. Like they're like a chain. They are like Karanadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Through them, the whole creation takes place.
And when we say about Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and then in that we say Vishnu, so that is
Kshirodaksha Vishnu.
Okay.
That's not Mahavishnu, yeah. So the functionality of Kshirodaksha Vishnu is to maintain this world, and Lord Shiva, Kailashpati Shiva, is to annihilate it, and Lord Brahma to create, subcreation. Yeah, do the subcreation thing. So okay, so next we can go to the other Poshnam, other examples of Poshnam, how Lord protected, other devotees. Like in 5th canto we see like when Bharat Maharaj, the son of Rishabdev, the eldest son of Rishabdev, when he went to the forest and he was enchanted or attracted by a cub of a deer, and he protected that deer, and that deer left him after some time, and at the end of his material existence he was thinking of that deer, and he had to take a body of deer. But Lord, out of his causeless mercy, he protected his memory. And he did not let him fall down. Maybe he had to suffer for one birth, but he did not let him fall down, because usually if you lose your human birth, it's a cyclic process. You do not get always a human body. Like from deer, it is very unlikely you will get a direct human body unless you have done some special activities. Anyway, so it is said like after cow you can get a human body, even sometimes monkey. Anyway, so he was given that human body, and he was taken birth. He took birth as Jada Bharat, and his transcendental realization was kept intact. It was not perished, and from that is like where he has left in his previous lives started from there actually. This is also an unusual thing, right? And Lord protected his memory, his previous activities, which helped him to gradually go into the platform of pure devotional service. So this we see, and he instructed King Rahugana, the science of soul, which is very relevant to each and every one of us. It's actually very enlightening. Yeah, and I gave a class about that also, right? Yeah, it's very difficult actually to understand those things. So these things are also, and then we see in last chapter of the 5th canto there is a description of hellish planet, right? Oh my God, yeah, it's very, very ghastly, very dangerous description. If you read that, in fact, some of Srila Prabhupada's early followers, they left the movement and then again came back after reading those descriptions. They are fearful of their activities. In fact, we should remind that even if we don't want to associate the Mahabhagavatas, Krishna actually will make sure that you associate with Mahabhagavat. So maybe in this material world we are doing all kind of nonsense. Usually Mahabhagavat, they are not approachable by those who are doing nonsense, right? They are only the most fortunate people can come in touch with Mahabhagavat. But Krishna said, okay, you are doing sinful activities, you will meet Mahabhagavat in hellish planet, Yamraj. He is one of the Dadash Mahajan, right? Among the 12 Mahajanas, he is one of them. So if you don't want to associate Mahajanas in this material world, you'll definitely get a Mahajan in a hellish planet. So that is also Krishna's mercy. So that is a very ghastly description. And then Parikshit Maharaj was also fearful. He was fearful of the people who are committing sinful activities. He told how they will be delivered, how they will come to the platform of this transcendental knowledge. And then Shukadeva Goswami is telling this, you do pious activities, you do a lot of pious karma. Then he's telling that very important point, I think I should not tell that in the exam, I think. anyways, yeah. So,
Today in the class I was just thinking when we were discussing,
yeah.
there are some points which were coming from NOI and Ishopanishad.
Anyway, so then he told okay, there is higher than that. Like the ultimate thing is not to do pious activities. That is some he's telling actually not pious activities, that what is that term? Repentance, anushochana. You do activities, Yeah, you do, you prashchitta. I'm looking for the word prashchitta. Yeah. The prashchitta, if you do, that's not enough, because the desire in your heart to commit sinful activities are still there. Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina, right? Rasa varjam rasa pasya param drishta nivartate. If you don't replace those desire with something higher desire, it will be always there. Like a bamboo is cut off from the root, but there is the root is there inside the soil, inside the earth. So new bamboo will come out of that. Similarly, sinful desire is there inside our heart. If we do even the prashchitta process, still it's not enough. There will be desire and we'll do, still we'll keep committing sinful activities. Then he said, okay, you have, like when Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya was discussing, Ramananda Rai started from Karma Kandi, those who are following Vedas, and Lord Chaitanya, hey, this is like external, say something which is higher than this. Then he told Jnana Kanda, then Dhyan, meditation, then he went into different platforms, and then different bhaktas. Here Lord Chaitanya was telling Bahya, these are external, Kisam. And then when he started depicting the bhaktas, the devotees, he told, okay, this is something very internal. Okay, tell something more about it. And he goes one platform to another platform, and ultimately he culminates into the love of gopis, describing different devotees in different relationship. Similarly, Shukadeva Goswami, he did not tell exactly. He wanted that, how attentive my listener is, how inquisitive he is. And through him, he is actually teaching us that, these are the activities one should aspire for. And then he described the pastime of Ajamila, where Ajamil, he did so many things. He was a Brahmin in his activity, in his birth, and somehow or other he got vitiated in contact with a prostitute, and he got married to it, and because of the association of a impious soul, he also got contaminated, and he completely fell down from his position. And when this happened, Lord somehow or other, he kept a situation, or he maintained a situation where he can remember him at the time of death. That's why he named his younger son Narayan, and at the time of that he chanted the name of his son, not Lord Narayan. But then Vishnu Dutas came, saved him from the ghastly Yamadutas, and Yamadutas were bewildered that how these Vishnu Dutas are taking this soul away. We never got chased by someone like this. They are very confused because their activities is only to follow the orders of Yamraj, and they were never counteracted by anyone else. But because of chanting the holy name of the Lord, Ajamil, he was delivered completely from these, from the sufferings of the hellish planets. And then when Vishnudutas went back to Yamraj, they described the whole situation, and then Yamraj actually described the Bhagavad Tattva to the Yamadutas, he actually called them, addressed them as sons, because they are doing so much service to him, but they are not knowledgeable that much because they are doing some activities which are not meant for pure devotees. Anyways, and he gave them the knowledge that these are 12 people who are conversed in the Shastra, Bhagavats, like Shukadeva Goswami, Narada, Shiva, Brahma, Chetas Kumar. Yeah. Anyways, so it goes on like that. Then comes the pastime of Daksha again, where he actually creates, or he gave birth to 10,000 sons, and these 10,000 sons, under the instruction or under the guidance of Narada, they went to Himalayas to do sadhana, to understand the purpose of life. So like Daksha, who is in a different mood, he did not appreciate it that much, and then he again gave birth to 1,000 sons. This time Narada did not tell much. He just tell them, okay, you follow your brothers. Your elder brothers have gone to this place. You should follow as per the Vedic injunction. You should follow your elder brothers, and they also went to Himalayas. And Daksha Prajapati got very angry, and this time he did not give birth to any son. He gave birth to 60 daughters through his wife Ashikni, because it all like sons will be only going to the Himalayas. They are not good for me, so I will expand the creation through my daughters. Anyways, so after that the pastimes of Indra comes, right? Actually, 6th canto is like full of very nectarian pastimes of Parshanam. How Lord is protecting his devotees. Even they are committing mistakes in every aspect almost. Like Indra, he actually offended his spiritual master Brihaspati, right? He ignored him. He was watching, some dancing of the Apsaras. He was completely in different mood. His spiritual master came into the court, but he did not put attention. He did not put respect, and he left with a disappointed mood that my disciple is not giving respect. In fact, it is said like if a sannyasi comes, and if you see a sannyasi and if you don't put dandavat to him immediately, you should fast rest of the day. So like his spiritual master is also like that, right? You should not, whatever you are doing, it doesn't matter. If you're not putting proper respect to your spiritual master, the consequence is severe. And some or other demons, they came to know about it. Okay, that Indra offended his spiritual master. So demigods, they are now powerless because they don't have the mercy of the spiritual master. Even though demigods are like superpower because they are connected with the Supreme Lord directly, but those things did not work. How many minutes? 3-4 minutes are there. Okay. Yeah. So just like that, then he it's a big story. It actually take us to the pastimes of Brithasur. How Indra then he took shelter of Lord Vishnu because his kingdom was usurped taken by demons. They attacked them, and they were powerless. And the demons are very powerful because they served their Guru Shukracharya very nicely. And then he took shelter of Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu told, okay, you don't have a guru, you should have a guru. They take Vishwakarma as their guru, and Vishwakarma was performing sacrifice. He gave Narayan Kavacha to Indra, and while he was performing sacrifice, he was giving oblation for the demons also, because he had an inclination to demons also. So Indra could not bear this thing. He chopped off his head. Now he committed more offenses by doing that, because he killed a Brahmana. And then he wanted to like how he could get rid of these sins. And then what happened? So that Vritrasura past time came like Dadichi Muni, they approached to give his asthi, bone, to create a Vajra which can kill Vritrasura. Anyways, like how Vritrasura came up, that is also 25 pastimes, that they chanted a mantra to kill Indra, to create someone who will kill Indra. But instead of that, because of the mispronunciation, it was chanted like, who will be killed by Indra? And then Vritrasura actually emerged from that Yagyakunda. And Vritrasura, who was a pure devotee, he was a pure devotee of Sankarsana. Anyway, so these things, even though Indra committed offenses, childish offenses, even he is a demigod king, still Lord forgave him because he came under the shelter of the demigods. That is the difference between a demigod and demon. Demigod, even they are often committing offense, but they are coming under the shelter of the Lord. But demons, we are better than them. We are better ourselves. We don't have to take shelter of anyone. Yeah, even though they are same powerful. In fact, sometimes we see demigods are easily defeated by demons. Right? They are more powerful in some cases. But as they are always under the shelter of Lord, like we see in chanting of the milk ocean, the same activities were done by both demigods and demons. But demigods always listen to whatever Lord asks them to do. Lord said, okay, you become cool and calm, don't argue with the demons, let the Amrita come out first. Don't go for an altercation for other things, just focus on the Amrit. These things happen, right? They are focused on, they are following the instructions of the Lord. Demons? No. They actually, when the distribution of Amrit took place, they are fighting among themselves. I want to eat myself. Yeah. Anyway, then they were enchanted by the external beauty, Mohini Murti, rather than the purpose. The whole purpose of the chanting of the milk ocean is to get the Amrit, and they completely forgot that part. They just focused on external things. But demigods, okay, never let your focus off the Amrit. That was Lord's instruction, and they always was focused. Anyways, so that's how Lord is protecting his devotees. Even demons also he protects. Because by killing them, by helping them with proper association, like Hiranyakashipu, he had a son like Prahlad, right? And even though he was tormenting the whole universe, he was not happy. That's actually another teaching comes in. Like, if you want to enjoy the world without Krishna, your happiness is actually very ephemeral and very temporary. It will just come and you will not feel happy inside. Atmarama is like that. Self-satisfaction will not be there. Anyways, we will not go to that point. Actually, we should conclude it here, the class. If anybody wants to say anything, yeah, please, Babu. Sorry.
Message from online.
Sorry?
There is one message from online.
Okay, please.
So, Kushal Prabhu is saying, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thanks for the very nice Bhagavatam class summarizing Srimad Bhagavatam. I really liked the point where you described why we should understand Sarga and Visarga before we listen to Lord's esoteric pastimes. Only by understanding my relationship with Supreme Lord can I develop true appreciation for his more esoteric activities.
Thank you, Kushal Prabhu. Yeah, that's very important. That's why, for the person who doesn't want to understand the form of the Lord is transcendental, he's told, okay, Lord is like a Virat Rupa, so everything is connected to him. So that to some extent he has some spiritual understanding. Yeah, it's very important. Nothing can manifest without the mercy of the Lord. Okay, so we can conclude here. Yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Now we will, do Guru Puja of Srila Prabhupada. We can actually get up and keep the seats in a place. And yeah. Thank you all for attending the class online and in studio. Thanks, and forgive me if I have said something which is not according to the teachings of our Acharya. Yeah, that's all my faults. Yeah, Hare Krishna.